Hi, everyone. This is Chris Guzmal talking again about open-ended questions. Last time we talked about the idea that if you're asked to add a characteristic to a particular object of a given type, then that's probably going to mean that you're going to modify a constructor so that that characteristic can be recorded. That means also that if you're going to modify the constructor, then you're going to have an additional field. Now, actually, I buried the field in here somewhere. Somewhere there's a field called name. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. On line 24, I added this name field that corresponded to, well, the added name. And that meant I also, last time we talked about the possibility of providing for a mutator method that would make it so the name got injected into an existing object, or if you create an object ab initio, which offers the opportunity to put that field in, that's great. And then we were talking about having a collection of objects of that type and how you might have a constructor that you need to make appropriately. And we talked about that as well. So now the next question is, what about that method with a for loop with an if statement inside of it? Because look, we have this array list of items, right? So if in your answer you say, we ought to iterate through the array list of items, hopefully that's true. Most likely it is true. Hopefully you know why it's true, because then you could write the English that justifies it. But anytime you have this array list around, you're going to be iterating through it. And you're going to be iterating through it, and you're probably going to be asking some kind of question, as is represented by some kind of logical expression. Now, in my example here, I decided to, as a test maker, that the hardest part of it in a way would be there'd be this complicated logical expression that would be a conjunction, because we have these ands here, of two method invocations. One method invocation is a non-static method because it's relative to the item E, and the other was going to invoke a string method equals, because one of the fields that you get from get name is a string. Okay, so this line of code, this if statement right here, is capturing a lot of the complexity of Java that you should be capable of expressing. An if statement, a string method, a logical expression, and if all those things are present and you're able to and necessary, and you're able to describe them in English, trust me, you're getting plenty of points. But the thing is, you just need to be on the alert. Is there a logical expression somewhere? Is there a string method somewhere that needs to be used in order to get things going to do my test? Is there some kind of if statement inside of some kind of for loop that we're iterating through? Okay. And then one thing that I noticed was conspicuously absent in the test that I suspect that they're going to have some kind of maximum finding, possibly some kind of sorting going on. And so be familiar with that sorting stuff that I talked about, the selection sort material, and certainly be able to write a code, or at least describe code, that finds the maximum or the minimum of a collection. That's sort of, I would call that sort of a minimal requirement, and it actually might be sufficient to just do that, and you might hit a home run just being real confident of your finding that. So the rubric for measuring this is going to be embedded in what we have over here in main. And I have a lot of discussion going on here, but one thing is that there's a set of terms, such as constructor, method, argument, return value, field, collection, array list. If you can use those terms correctly in your description of the solution, every time you do, you're likely picking up credit and understanding. Okay. And so there was a listing of three things. Recognize that you're probably going to be creating an existing field, or you're processing an existing field in a new way, or you're adding a new field, or you're adding an argument to a method that you're being asked to write. And so each one of those would be an item, a point on a rubric. Okay. Are you invoking a string or a math method to help you solve your problem and doing it accurately? I'm not saying there's always going to be one, but if there is one, then you're invoking it's going to be worthwhile. Is there a for loop that's doing something? We're doing some kind of comparison, and finally applying logic to existing methods as I described.